we're all concerned about tomatoes, and it's something that we'll be looking at and bring you updates on how this issue has been resolved. But some tomato farmers and traders are calling for improved road networks, water supply, and support to access finance as President Akufo-Addo commissions a $16 million tomato processing factory at Berekum in the Bono region.
A company operating under the One District, One Factory initiative at Domfeta in the Berekum West District of the region is considered by many as a key intervention to cut down on tomato wastage, which is a usual occurrence, create jobs, and to explore exports of Ghanaian-made tomato paste to the regional and international markets. Some of the farmers and traders took turns to list what they believe will make the factory's operation successful. Stephen Odro is one of them. He says he is leader of the Berekum tomato farmers.
The farmers are the main reason the factory was brought here. Therefore, we plead with government to provide us with potable water and fix our roads, as well as provide financial assistance. If that is done, Bono and other neighboring communities will be able to provide the factory with all the tomatoes for production.
For Nana Masewa, who is tomato market queen for the Bono region, says tomato traders like her may need some more help from government to support the factory to succeed. She is, however, happy that tomatoes they produce in the region will no longer go waste.
Here in Bono, after we harvest the tomatoes, we are not able to preserve them. As a result, they all go bad. So if the president has brought a factory here, we will have a place to bring our tomatoes after harvest. This will also serve as a source of employment for the youth in the district, because we grow a lot of tomatoes here. Here in Bono, after we harvest the tomatoes, we are not able to preserve them. As a result, they all go bad. So if the president has brought a factory here, we will have a place to bring our tomatoes after harvest. This will also serve as a source of employment for the youth in the district, because we grow a lot of tomatoes here.
Eric Osei Tufo is chairman of the Ghana National Tomato Traders and Transporters Association. He says they came to negotiate how they can supply tomatoes for the company's survival.
The factory needs tomatoes, and as such, they may need us. So the factory authority called us to be part of this commissioning, so that we sit down and then negotiate how best we can supply them tomato for the survival of the factory. It will benefit a lot, because we can create an employment, we can get money for our sustainability, we can look after our children, schools, and others.
The ceremony, which was brief in accordance to COVID protocols, saw President Akufo-Addo interact with all stakeholders who have supported the company, including the Ghana Exim Bank and representatives from the German Embassy and the German Development Agency, which supported the project as part of its implementation of the Invest for Jobs initiative funded by the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development.
Let's have a conversation on this new factory intended to address post-harvest losses. Nana Kwame Fosu-Boateng, he's a consultant for the Wedi Africa Tomato Processing Factory. He joins me for more. Now, the capacity of the factory is something that is of utmost importance to us. Tell us about the capacity.
Thank you very much, Matilda. So Wedi Africa Tomato Processing Factory has an installed capacity of 5 tons per hour. And because we designed the business model to be able to solve the perennial challenges that comes with tomato glut, leading to post-harvest losses. Embedded in our plant is also a 500-ton cold room. So when the farmers have abundance, or how we say glut of tomatoes, we're able to take a hold of it and keep it in our cold room. And from there, we start the processing. Our first processing line is able to run independently for 24 hours. And so it is in our strategy that during the bumper harvest, we would be able to run, especially our first line of production, 24/7 until the glut is mopped up from the system.
So how many jobs are we expecting that this processing factory will create, and what are the timelines?
Thank you very much. Currently, we have 158 employees already on our payroll. This is at a capacity of about 38% capacity. We also have what we call the Youth in Agriculture program under our in-grower farmer system, which is designed to allocate our own lands to the youth in the area and its environs who are interested in farming. They would be provided with sources of water, will be provided with agric inputs and our seed varieties, and be given support by the Ministry of Food and Agric under their Crop Extension Services department. We have already done a couple of trials already since 2019 at what we call a micro level, during which we're able to support close to 150 in-grower farmers. So under our in-grower program, we are hoping to provide direct employment for close to 1,200 in-grower farmers who will be cultivating an average of 1 acre each on our farmlands. Again, our factory has been able to pull together over 2,000 outgrower farmers with support again from the Ghana Exim Bank. I must be quick to say that for the in-grower system and the outgrower system or program, we have also been privileged to get additional support from GIZ under their Invest for Jobs program, which is funded by BMZ, which is in the very first phase to, as it were, build the capacity of various actors within our supply chain. So currently, we are looking at a three-pronged approach to sourcing for raw materials, which consists of, first and foremost, the in-grower system that is designed to target the youth that are interested in farming. And the second one is our outgrower system that is designed to target tomato farmers that are already or that have always been cultivating tomatoes. We've been able to put them into two FBOs of farmer-based organizations. One is the Berekum West Tomato Farmers Association and the Tano North Tomato Farmers Association. And then we have our own nucleus farm that we are also cultivating. So yes, if you pull all these things together, we are looking at currently providing 158 jobs presently. But at the point where we reach a capacity of 100%, we should have a minimum of 350 permanent workers at the factory site, 1,200 in-grower farmers, and then a market provided for 2,000 outgrower farmers.
So we just had a conversation with a representative of the Ministry of Agric, and we are learning about a virus that is affecting tomatoes. And for that reason, importation of tomatoes from Morocco has been halted. What is the plan to ensure availability of enough tomatoes to feed the factory, given the bad example we have had from the Commander Sugar Factory, for instance?
Thank you very much. One of the critical findings that was revealed in our R&D process prior to establishing this factory. I must commend my group chairman in the person of Nana Yao-Boy, was that the critical issue of concern regarding motivation for our farmers to produce more was not only a function of just water and the like, but more importantly, issue of good variety that produces the highest yield. So we set out in search of such good tomato varieties that are designed for industrial purpose. We've done a couple of seed trials, over 16 in all, since we started our pilot in 2019. And thankfully, we have been able to get some seed varieties from the University of Ghana's West African Center for Crop Improvement, spearheaded by Professor E.Y. Dankwa and his team. And we really appreciate his team's efforts at developing new tomato hybrids that is able to yield about 4 to 5 times what the farmers are able to produce now. So I am informed that the Ministry of Agric is at their last stage of the seed varietal committee's assessment of these varieties so that they can release it onto the market. So I thought that once these seeds are released onto the market by the West African Center for Crop Improvement in Legon, together with their partners, we're already partnering them anyway. Our farmers will now have access to these hybrids that will give them 4 to 5 times the yield of what they are currently getting now. That will mean that we are inching closer and closer to being self-sufficient in terms of our need for tomatoes. So not only in terms of its yield, but it means that we have control over the seeds, because prior to this great innovation from WACI, as we say, West African Center for Crop Improvement, we were importing some of the good hybrids from abroad, which I remember last year, as a result of travel restrictions, thanks to the COVID, we struggled a lot at getting some of these seed varieties. So yes, a good chunk of the headache associated with sustainability is being addressed by the West African Center for Crop Improvement. But I must be quick to say that even when we have these access to these tomato hybrids and distributed to our farmers, there's yet another critical factor of monitoring, because these tomato hybrids have planting protocols that have to be strictly abided by if you want to have such yield. And that is where the Extension Service Department comes in. You and I will agree that players within certain public service agencies, of course, need some support to, as it were, function adequately when it comes to monitoring, because in our system, every farmer's farm is supposed to be visited once a week. Every farmer's farm is supposed to be visited once a week by an extension officer, supported by in-house agronomy directorate. And to be able to do that, they have to at least get a little bit incentive, because thankfully the government has procured motor bicycles for them. But on our part as a factory, we are also supposed to provide some form of fuel to, as it were, quicken the pace at which they're able to provide monitoring. And thankfully, through the Invest for Job initiative by the funded by the DMZ, implemented by GIZ from the German people, we are able to get funding to push this monitoring. I must be quick again to commend GESAL and also commend ADB for the additional support being given. But like Oliver Trace says, we would want more, because there's a lot more room for improvement.
But apart from availability of the tomatoes, what's also the plan to ensure the company's survival?
Thank you very much. So that is where we are convinced that given the way we have designed and structured our plant, so we have 2 separate plants. The first line processes fresh tomatoes into what we call tomato concentrates. That line runs independently. So during the tomato glut, for the fresh tomatoes, they have shelf lives less than a week or sometimes 1.5 weeks. But once we pass the fresh tomatoes through our first line, we're able to end up having tomato concentrates, and that is what our competitors import from abroad. Now, these tomato concentrates have an average shelf life of 24 months. So we're able to take the fresh tomatoes, turn it into concentrate, and store it for up to 2 years. Now our second processing line now takes the tomato concentrates and now turns it into what we call a tomato mix, or in our local parlance, we say tin tomatoes, right? So we are able to also run the second line independently. So the second line is almost same as to just like what our leading competitors have. So at any point in time, the company is in business. During the tomato glut, we are positioned to be able to take or mop up from the market or from our farmers and store so much concentrates that are needed for the rest of the year until the next glut. So we are confident that we are very sustainable.
I'm happy that you are confident you can sustain this one, but the farmers are also raising issues about transport, access to loans, and even water. I mean, what plans do you have to support these farmers?
Thank you very much. The name of our company is Wedi Africa. That is the name of the group. And one of our strategic business units is into borehole drilling. So through a couple of our discussions with our farmers, we saw the need to be doing that, providing water for them, especially during the lean season. So when you look at how we have designed our outgrower system, we have been able to pull them into clusters. So even when we come to the Jenny area, we have a couple of clusters based on their proximity community-wise. So for every cluster, per our plan, we haven't implemented it yet. Per our plan, we are supposed to drill a borehole for them and help them to have access to water. Also, there are some other clusters that have low-lying areas that, with a little bit of support from our earth-moving machines, from our other SBU, we are able to dig some wells and some pockets of dams for them so that they can also crop during the lean season. However, when it comes to our in-grower system, once the implementation starts, and again, I say thank you to GESAL and thank you to ADB, and again, thank you to Ghana Exim Bank. They have pushed us this far. We need more from them and other players that are interested, other banks that are interested. Once we start the implementation of this in-grower system, that is drip irrigated. So we are looking at a land mass of about 1,000 acres out of our 2,400 acre land that will be given to the youth that are interested to go into agric. And we would have a couple of boreholes drilled. We've already done the assessment, the estimation, and everything. We're just waiting for the commissioning so that we kick that portion into operation. Once that portion gets set in, those who will be farming on our in-grower, under our in-grower farmer system should be sorted when it comes to access to all year-round water, same as our nucleus farm. So we are confident that that is provided for. However, again, the funding requirement is huge, I must say. When it comes to mechanized farming in the country, is huge. And I say thank you again to Exim Bank. However, given our interaction with the Ghana Exim Bank and the ADB, which have pushed us this far, they know that we've just been pushed up to about 30%, 35% of what we can really do. And at this moment, let me be quick to extend a hand of welcome to any other financial institution that want to maybe form a syndicate or they come on board to hold our hand so that we can grow with them together.
And of course, this is something that we all wish and hope that it will work. And that's how we have expressed so much interest in this one. Nana Kwame Fosu-Boateng, it's been great having you. He's a consultant for the Wedi Africa Tomato Processing Factory.